This is the extensions page, which you can get to from anywhere on the online account by clicking on the extensions menu. And on the extension page, first of all, you can pick your line number that you want to make changes on, and then you'll see a list of your extensions here. You'll see each of the extension numbers, the description that you've assigned to it, how you're going to forward the calls, the caller ID choice, the voicemails, whether it's forced enabled or disabled, call logs, if you have any messages, and whether or not you want to record the call. So let's go through each one of those at a time. First of all, you can click on the extension number, and when you do that, you can get to some of the settings for the extension, such as setting a PIN number, and you can put the first, last name, description, and your choice of music on hold, whether you want to ring or one of these jazz tracks. And you can get to some of the voicemail settings from here, but we'll go through the other way just so we can show you that. The next option for an extension would be the call forwarding. Right now it's set to direct connect. Now direct connect means that when somebody dials that extension, it's going to go directly to the phone number, the Skype ID, VoIP phone, or your SIP trunking server, if you choose to do that. Now, if you were to do that, you could just put in a number like this and save it. Or Skype ID you could put in there, like that. Or VoIP phone or SIP trunking. And there's a couple of examples of how to put those in down here. Other than direct connect, you can also forward calls simultaneously to several different phone numbers, again, or Skype IDs, or VoIP phones, or SIP trunking. So if you wanted to send it to several phones, and you can mix them up, then you can go ahead and do that and send it at the same time to all of them. And here you can set how many rings to send it before sending the call to voicemail. And again, you get some scheduling here to set whether you want it 24 hours or just certain hours for certain numbers. So you could, for instance, have this number answering from 9 to 5 and maybe this one from 5 to midnight, etc. And over here you can set the days of the week for a little further scheduling. And your other option is to forward sequentially. Now basically that looks the same as forwarding simultaneously, except that you can do them in order. So it would try this phone first, and then this one after the number of rings. So for instance, we said 3 rings there, and then 6 rings there, and then another 6 rings there before sending it to the voicemail. Coming back here, our next option that we can set on an extension would be the caller ID. Now, how you want to identify that caller when they're calling. Now, generally it's set to simple connect, which means just pass the call straight through to the ring on that extension. But you can also set it to call screening, which would then ask the caller their name before connecting it to you. And when your phone rings, you would hear that caller's name and have the choice of whether or not to answer that call. Call announce is similar, except that it wouldn't ask for the caller's name. It just simply asks you whether you want to accept the call or not. And if you choose not to, it would go to voicemail. Now, play memo is a feature that's exclusive to Culture. We patented it. And basically what that does is it allows you to record a memo after speaking with a caller. And the next time that caller calls you, you'll hear that memo played to you as a reminder of what this caller was all about before you're connected to them. They'll be hearing the music on hold while you're listening. Then we have our voicemails options. Again, you can set this to forced, disabled, or enabled. Forced, again, means that you send callers directly in the mailbox. Enabled means you can send them to your voicemail box, depending on after the number of rings. And disabled means never to send them to the voicemail box. You put your email address in there so that you'll be notified whenever a voicemail comes in. This is the capacity of the mailbox. This is how to notify that the email address. So you could, for instance, put email with attachment, meaning to send the voicemail, or you could put email without the attachment, just a notification. And down here you have several tabs giving you options on how you can record your voicemail greeting over the phone, how you can order one from our studio at a small cost, how you can upload your own greeting if you have it in WAV file format, and lastly, how to access your voicemail from another phone other than your extension. A couple more options to look at here. We've got the call logs for a particular extension. So here you can see that there was a call today at 11:01 a.m. from this number, and gives us some more information, the duration and the cost. And we can see up here, you can select a date range if you'd like to check just a certain day, or maybe a few days in a certain week. You also have the ability to download those in Excel. We can also access the voicemail messages for that extension by going into the extension messages itself. And here you could play it. You could choose to check this box, delete it, or block the number. And our last option there for the extension is to record a call. Now you can check this box off, and that would record any call that's incoming to that extension, and you can choose to listen to those recordings from the call details. Now, one other thing to note on our extensions menu, there is also a VoIP setup submenu here. And for the voice over IP setup, you can again select the number that you want to make the changes on, and you've got a list of your extensions here. Now what happens is, if you have a VoIP phone, you can locate the MAC address. We've got a little help here on how to locate it. Usually they're on the bottom of your SIP device, your phone or your ATA device. And you just plug that in here. And you can configure your device. Basically it does the auto provisioning of it to make it pretty much plug and play. Then you'd hit save. And that's basically all the options that you can look at on the extensions menu.